Thank you for joining the Plus One with Minxie podcast today. I am sitting in a parking lot while my little boy plays at our neighborhood park. Sometimes you can be full of energy and be able to interact, and sometimes it's a feat just to, bring your children out to be active. So we're spending a little one-on-one time, but in the way that I can function is so beautiful. And he sees his classmates, so he's happy. And so I decided to come on and share some progress with you guys. But I wanted to start off with a little bit of gratitude. So I became monetized on my podcast, and that is 100% due to you guys support, taking the time to listen, share the links, and share with your friends, subscribe to me. And I appreciate it. Because I feel like that's been the purpose of a lifetime of overcoming. Today I posted a video on my Snapchat and TikTok, just across the platforms. And it was just a video of me giving gratitude while listening to Amazing by Pastor Mike. And I told people this. I said, I have looked for God in everything and everyone, in every experience that I've been in since I was, I think I became conscious of a higher power probably around 5. And I've tried every religion in the book, you guys. Well, not every, but most of them, most of them, from Christianity to Catholicism to Islam, Mormonism. I tried everything. I looked for a place to call home. Now, some people search for love in another human being. But my ultimate love, even as a child, was to find God. And somewhere along the way, I realized it wouldn't be found in ritual for me. When I say ritual, I mean like the process of going to church, the process of reading a Bible and remembering Bible verses. Now, if you guys know my short-term memory, my health, and some other issues, I just can't remember stuff. I can remember the meaning, the intent, the words, but chapter this, verse that. I had so many questions, and my brain just questions. So I would always say, I don't think my salvation lies in the words of my enemy. And what I mean by that is the Bible being written, translated, written in English. I took big exception to that. I took big exception that we were basing our salvation, our emotional, spiritual, and often mental health on something written by our enemies in their language. And I won't get too deep into that. You guys know what I mean. In their language. English isn't even the oldest language. Listen to what I'm saying. English wasn't even the oldest language. But yet, we trusted these people to write the truth in a way that we could share. And so I started to question why I felt in the Bible everything about a woman was a curse. Something to be disgusted by, ashamed by, even her having a voice in the church. I don't even have to tell you guys why I left Catholicism. And I tried everything. It wasn't really until I recently was at my lowest point. It is. I'm at my lowest. It's not my lowest financially or physically, but my lowest mentally. That I found God. I don't even like to use the word God. I don't like that word. I don't like that word. I don't like to say He. I don't like to say God. I like to say, I really don't know what to say. I don't always use a name when I talk to the Most High. Sometimes I just talk to my, internal dialogue. Let me say, I'm not judging what you choose to believe or you don't believe. I'm not telling you what to believe or not to believe or how it's delivered. I'm not saying that fellowship is wrong. I'm saying that for me, I was lost in the tithing, the glitz and glamour, families coming to church who didn't even have food, and seeing, the pastor, the priest having beautiful cars and fancy watches and taking exotic trips. In the face of suffering, that did something to me to where I knew that a place wasn't the place for me to be. The ritual wasn't there for me to be. The judgment, and I'm not judging you guys. If it provides what you need, then it provides what you need. I'm just talking about how I felt lost and like that wasn't my home, in different religions, in different religious practices. But I knew I believed in something greater. Science can't explain everything. And I believe in science, but it can explain everything. It can't explain the alpha, and it doesn't know what the omega will be. So, I said that, you know what, in the face of suffering, and when I found myself over and over and over and over again, alone, not being able to find true comfort in any human being that I knew in my circle, people that were willing to love me as I am and as I will be, the way that I love them as they are and as they will be. I found myself in a relationship that was traumatic to me. Probably one of the most traumatic relationships I've ever been in. And it wasn't due to violence. It was due to really being lost in their addiction, their mental health issues, wanting to heal and love, help them find healing and love them, and really being faced with somebody who's just not capable of empathy, gratitude, faith, being able to step outside of themselves and feeling so much sadness for them, and really not having my emotional needs met. And listen, guys, they were very minimum. I didn't ask for much. I asked to not be embarrassed and to feel safe with that person. I'm not talking about physical safety. I'm talking about a mental safety. And all of this time, I thought, how much punishment do I have to take? And there was something that happened when I was a child that I put a lot of guilt on myself for. And it's not something I'm going to disclose on here, but I think as I grew up and I got older, I just used that as an excuse, like, this is why you deserve this. This is why you deserve all of this punishment, This is why you're getting all these people in your life who are not capable of loving you and keeping you safe. I put a lot of pressure on myself, and at the end of the day, I thought I'm supposed to be with somebody broken. That's the only person who can, who can understand me, and then we can find healing together. It can work like that, but it won't work like that in something that you're not intended to be in. So that would explain a lot of my relationships. I was talking to a friend And I said, I have been a magnet for broken people, not just men, friendships. Because I'm a lover, I like to love on people. I like to nurture them. I want to be loved and nurtured. I want to be happy. I want to make people happy. I want to heal. I want to support people through their healing. I want to have fun. I want to be spiritual. Let me tell you guys something. You can do all of those things alone. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys, well, I'm going to be alone. I'm going to do this and that. I'm actually a person who was meant to be with somebody and love them and support them and encourage them. You know, I ended up in a marriage I didn't want. On my wedding day, so many things went wrong. And I knew that was divine intervention. But I cared more about his feelings. So I literally got married because I didn't want to embarrass somebody that I was marrying in front of, like, not even a handful of people. And that same person didn't give a shit about embarrassing me. So, and he begged me, he knew it, he could see it and feel it all over my body. So while the pastor was reading our vow, like the vows, how they do it the traditional way, he got on his knees and was holding my hand, and it looked romantic in the picture. But what he was saying under his breath was, please don't leave me. Please don't run. Like he knew I wanted to run. And, the lady, there was the witness. It was the pastor's mother. I was supposed to get married at a wedding chapel, like a little chapel in Blue Springs, Missouri. But the rain was so horrible that we couldn't get married outside. It just started raining out of the blue. It was a beautiful day, and literally the rain was so hard, it's just blowing everything away. And so we had to get married in there. Like the family lived on the property where the chapel was. And he had to get the grandmother or the mom, little old white lady with a dusk gown on, came up. And I started my period, y'all. I wasn't supposed to be on my period. And I'm talking about, it just came out of nowhere. It was like the scene out of Carrie. Like everything was going wrong. Everything was wrong. Like the driver wasn't going the right way. He got lost. It was just so many things trying to keep me away from that marriage. I shouldn't even been in that relationship. And so many people just ran, like it was so weird. I went to the casino and a random old, always seemed like old people said, don't do it. And I was like, and he gave me like a prophecy, and he was drunk too, but he gave me a prophecy. He just saw a white man walked up and grabbed my arm, and he said his piece, and then he was tipsy, but he gave me a prophecy, and like that shit was accurate. And then one time I was somewhere, and that's a whole nother story, and a police officer was there. And he was talking to me, a young white cop. He said, "You're not from here, are you?" And I was like, "Huh?" Like I wasn't involved in what was going on. I said, "No." He said, "You're not from here?" I said, No, I'm not." He said, "Leave." Like just a random ass fucking cop handling a minor situation. And I'm just, watching. And he said, He said, "Leave." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Can you get on a bus or a plane tomorrow and leave this city?" He said, "If you can, you leave. You don't you come back." I had just been in Kansas City for a little while. He said, "Don't you come back here." He said, "Don't." He said, "That guy," he said, "get away from him." This is my ex-husband. And, but I hadn't married him yet. And I had just met him. And he was just saying, like, he didn't have anything to do with what was going on either. It's just when he just walked up and said something, told him to come tell me that. He said, "You leave this city, don't you come back here." He said, "I know it sounds crazy, but you leave." I didn't listen, but it freaked me out because, like, at that time, people just kept it just kept happening. I'm like, oh, what the hell? Y'all know I'm from the South, so they say I was born with a veil over my face. It's not weird for me to be attracted to people who have abilities. Attracted as in I end up next to somebody or talking to them, and then they share something, or I see something and I tell them, and they're like, wow, how do you even know that? I'm like, I don't know. So sometimes God will put things into your way trying to protect you. You perceive it as being broken down. But really, it's like, I'm trying to hit your hand. You know how you pap your baby? You don't beat your baby, but they try to touch the electrical outlet or touch a candle, and you say, pap, no. God be like trying to pap your hand. No, that's hot. But we don't be listening. We sitting there sticking our damn hand in the flame, right? So I just really realized that I was like, all throughout my life, it was always some type of divine intervention trying to keep me away from things. With my last ex, and you guys are gonna, like I said, you're gonna hear a little bit about that because it was such a bizarre situation. There were so many things I misinterpreted as things trying to push us together. The universe trying to push us together, and really it was divine intervention trying to keep us apart. Like bizarre stuff, guys, like us having mutual people in our lives that we met separately but were the same people. Us having relationships that actually crossed. Like, is that crazy? With people that, it was so weird. Like, it was so much. And the reason I'm kind of glossing over that is just for the privacy and protection of a lot of everybody involved. Because if not, it'd be like a weird Jerry Springer thing, like how the universe was trying to keep me away from him. And I was adamant that I have to love and support this person. Adamant. You know how you make a physical list? Even he would say, I don't know why you're with me. He even just said that. He was like, you're beautiful. You're successful. Even him saying I was successful kind of to me bothered me, because that meant he didn't even listen or acknowledge the times that I was struggling. Where I'd be like, hey, I'm giving you this, but I don't have it. I have to hustle all day to get this. It negated my struggle by him perceiving me as successful. Even though I'm sitting here talking to this man, he talking to me, I'm listening and telling him, how hard I have to work, hustle, the times I've struggled to survive, like I done told this man I was homeless and everything. And him not processing that, only processing his needs, his emotional needs, his struggles. His struggles were all mental. They weren't actual things that happened, but it was how he processes things that to us are small things. Something like, hey, you got to go to an appointment, or hey, you got to go take care of a ticket. To us would not be life-threatening, like this big catastrophe, but to him it was. But I still acknowledge that. Now, the things that were happening to me were like getting held at gunpoint by a stranger, attempted rapes, by strangers, like trying to get, like I'm jogging and somebody trying to get me with at gunpoint, and I'm a 19-year-old girl. And in his mind, that was nothing. It did something to me mentally. But shit, heaven forbid, the waffle sticks to the waffle iron while he's trying to make a waffle, and a little batter drips, and it's a big catastrophe, Not to minimize anybody who suffers from mental illness. I'm just saying it can take a toll on the person who does not suffer from those mental illness, who does not suffer from addiction. And guys, I'm always respectful of my exes. They're not respectful of me. So even for me to tap into the addiction part, well, he'd tell people on Facebook and talk about it to any females that give him attention, and tagged and all that. So certain things I won't approach because only I know about those things. But so if you ever hear me talking about anybody's story as a point to minister, and I don't want to use the word minister as in religion, but I mean like to share our stories of survival, redemption, things like that, believe and trust me, they either have given me consent or it's something they have addressed publicly on social media that anybody who come across the account would know. I'm real respectful of privacy. That people ain't respectful of my damn privacy. They sure in the hell not. That's why I live like I do. That's why I'm so secretive. It hurts me because my natural being, my natural state of being, you guys, is to be a lover. I love loving on people. I love helping people. It don't make me listen. Now y'all know, some of y'all listening to this, y'all know I don't have to take y'all pride to help you. I ain't no person like y'all know how many times my kids didn't barely get no presents or didn't get none, and I took groceries to people's houses. I ain't even try. I ain't be like, oh, let me hand it to you so you have to say thank you. I see them posts and they got no food. I'd be like, where you live at? I said, if I can take it, I'll take it. I said, if not, I'll order it. I said, tell me what you want, I'll order it. You know? I don't take no pictures of nobody. Like, the worst thing you can do is humiliate somebody at their lowest. Like, leave people some dignity. Y'all listening to this. If y'all gonna do that angel tree and stuff like that, don't y'all knock on them people's door. You message them people and you say to them, where you want me to leave these gifts? Because I want you to give these gifts to your babies. I remember being a kid and 1 year we were living in a project, Snowden Jones project, and a little old couple, white couple, I guess they took my name off of some type of angel tree, and they came there, and it was such a degrading experience. And they spent more money on the wrapping paper, like they had the gifts professionally wrapped, but it was like some old clothes that they got out of their closet. And I don't mean like to be ungrateful, but I'm talking about like they was some clothes from the 70s, like flat collars. They weren't even girls' clothes. They were men's clothes, like boy clothes. I guess they may have had a son, like, oh, well, you old post-slave. Here, let me give you this. It smell like mothballs. First of all, if y'all can't afford to adopt no fam, don't adopt no fam. They'll take your volunteering too. You go down there and volunteer. You always got to try to give something physical. And then 1 year, I remember a young white couple adopted me on Angel Tree, and they bought their kid. And then they was like, here, give it to her. But I was a little kid. I was so embarrassed. So now when I give, I make sure I let the parents give it so they can be a big deal. They don't got to see me face to face. You know how people look when they know they can't provide for their kids? That shit is heartbreaking. I don't want to see that, and I don't want them to feel that way. I want to give in privacy and discretion. Y'all won't even know what I give. If you hear me talking about giving, it's because I need y'all help to make a difference. When I videotaped myself doing my ministry on the streets of Phoenix, I didn't videotape the people. I videotaped y'all, showing y'all what you can do to help. Like I was showing y'all, don't buy in the summertime perishable food. Buy canned food with the pop can that you can pull the top off. Buy microwave dinners that you can still eat even if they're not microwave. Because those things they can carry around in their backpack. Y'all go down there and make sandwiches in like an hour of being in 100-degree weather. Not even an hour. That shit is going to make them sick. It's already spoiled. It can't be used. Y'all know that, did you? Because y'all might not have been homeless. And you've been homeless. You know what I'm talking about. Because I've been homeless. I don't sugarcoat nothing. A girl I don't even talk to now, her kid burnt my house down. You know how many people in Kansas City helped me? 0. You know how many people in Kansas City I've helped? Thousands. Now, how many of my friends said, hey, do you need some Pampers for the baby? Do you need some food? You know how many men I dated there? And I gave them cars and kept their kids from other women, gave them money, helped them get jobs, helped them promote their careers, build a business. You know how many of them reached out to me? None. You know how many of my relatives came over there and helped me go through my clothes to get what I could and try to wash the soot out of them, the smoke damage? None. I went to my mother. My mom told everybody and they mama I was living with her. She didn't say, well, Lisa's here because the house burned down. Baby, but let me tell you about God. I literally went to Atlanta, Georgia. Okay? I went to Atlanta, Georgia. A relative told me to come there. So I got an extra house. Got there, they wouldn't even answer the phone. They were right in the house. Ended up homeless as hell. Listen now. I ended up homeless. I ain't talking about in no shelter. If you ever been to Georgia, you know they ain't got enough people, places to help people. I'm talking about like homeless, like living in a hotel and then completely fucking homeless. Like, I spent thousands on the hotel because I really didn't understand what was going on with my relative. I thought maybe something happened. They was embarrassed or something. Because I had went to that same relative. It was my aunt, my mom's baby sister. She ain't got no kids. I had spent my whole summer taking care of her. She had told our family she was in a car wreck. But really, her husband had beat her so bad while they were driving. He caused her truck to overturn. She was financially stable. She liked to get men that ain't got shit. But she had money. This guy was a professional bowler and a cokehead. She moved him in her beautiful house and married him. And he had beat her, and the car had overrolled down the embankment. It made the news. She almost died. So she told our family she was a car wreck. I got there. I took care of her. When I walked in, I was a young girl. I seen blood everywhere. It was laundry piled everywhere. I'm talking about little laundry. Everything in the house was tore up. Like, she little. She don't know how to fight. She ain't raised nothing like that. She was my mom and them baby sister. My grandmother had a baby in her 50s. Her and my grandfather. And so all her siblings were grown. So she got spoiled. She princess. She was like winning all kind of beauty titles and all kind of stuff. And so she don't know nothing about fighting or being ghetto. You know what I mean? Stabbing a motherfucker for putting his hands on you. She don't know about that. So I got there and I can't let her keep her dignity. And I literally scrubbed blood. I bought food because he had emptied all her bank accounts. He had sold all her sports cars and stuff to the dope boys, which most of them was recovered, because you know how the dope boys do. They take the sports car, they give you the drugs, and then they just run it in the ground. And but helping her get everything straight, get her divorce. She didn't even know she could get a divorce that fast. And the divorce was done in like a month. I kid you not. The judge had it, boom, 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 got a divorce. I gave her my whole summer. She didn't have nothing. I started helping her clean her house. And I can help her. She was going to physical therapy and everything. Driving her to physical therapy, helping her clean her house, and getting everything straight for her. And then I was working at Taco Bell. I got a job at Taco Bell in Riverdale, Georgia. It was one of the best jobs I ever had, to be honest with y'all. Everybody was so kind, and it was so much fun. Like, we just was a good crew. We was all look out for each other. We had a cool ass manager. Everybody was cool. We was all diverse. Like, a black girl, her mom was a doctor, but she was pregnant. The girl was pregnant. We looked out for her. Teenage Indian dude. It was a black dude that was cool, a teenage boy. We were all teenage, like 18, 19 years old. And it was just a good time for me. But I was a kid, trying to bring food home, because she had no money. She couldn't go back to work. She had a good job working for the airlines. And but he had emptied all her money. So we were trying to figure out how much of the money we could get back, things like that, from using credit cards that they had without consent and stuff like that. So as I started cleaning her house, she loved to read books. She don't like to watch TV. Her house full of books. She had a beautiful house on the outside. The inside, it was hell for her. So I'm trying to get the house clean, scrubbing the furniture, just trying to get it back, It took a long time. It took me the whole summer, every day, working at least 5 hours a day, trying to clean, trying to get everything washed up, whatever. And what was so crazy, you guys, is I'm just young. I'm inexperienced. I'm doing all this. And she started healing. She was really messed up. He had hit her and beat her so bad with a log. At first they tried to say it was an accident, but then the 911 calls came in when insurance started investigating and said, well, they had multiple calls of a man beating a woman, and the woman got out, and then he was beating her, and then the truck flipped. So they was like, we not paying for that. Like, they didn't want to pay for the car, and they were like, we not paying for none of that. Like, y'all was wilding. And she don't fight. She don't know how to fight herself back. So I don't even know why anybody would try to hit her, because she don't do all that. She wasn't the nicest person to me growing up. She was always judgmental. You know, like I was a little child, and she'd be like, don't chew that loud. Don't do this, you know. And I'm supposed to be looking up to her, you know. And then she'd be like, that's my favorite little niece. But she was so used to just having everything. And being the center of attention, she didn't know how to give a child love and attention. But she to this day, she say, I'm her daughter. She left everything that she has to me and my oldest brother. So she's still alive, but you know, obviously when you're leaving stuff to people, there's things that have to be done. So she said, I'm leaving all my jewelry and my cash value, my stocks and everything to you. And I'm leaving all my property to your brother. So she, you know, she was like, she don't have kids. She didn't want none. And so fast forward, that was the person I went there to stay with. She told me I could have one of her houses. She said, you live here for 6 months. Just go ahead and get everything back, you know, back on your feet. And then if at the end you want to buy the house from me, you can buy it. If you want to rent it, you can rent it. So I was like, okay. Because she was like, I remember you taking care of me. Y'all, I get there. I drove all the way from the fucking middle of nowhere. Get there, and she don't answer the door. So my mom's like, no, I know she wouldn't be there and she wouldn't answer the door. Just go check into a hotel, and I'm going to try to get in touch with her. So a day or two go by, she still ain't heard nothing. I go by again, she ain't there. So eventually my mom calls the airline, you know, because she's a flight attendant. And but she got a lot of seniority. She's been a flight attendant a long time. And she a trainer and a lot of other stuff. So my mom calls, and the airline, because she's her emergency contact, so they can tell her stuff, you know. And they say, let us call. Oh, that's strange. So they call her, and then they contact her. My mom say, oh, no, she's at home. My mom said, I don't know why my sister's got my baby and my grandbaby's there, and she answered the door. That don't make no sense. Probably a year or two after, she called me on the phone talking about she just had changed her mind. And she's sorry she did that, and da-da-da. I was real nice, but in my head, I was like, bitch, I'm about to block this number. As soon as I get off the phone, you're going to die miserable and alone. That's where my heart and my mind went instantly. But I was like, oh, no worries. We figured it out. But let me tell you about God, y'all. When I'm telling you, after I ran out of money, I spent a lot because, mind you, I'm waiting, like, this don't make sense. Maybe something happened to her. Maybe she's going through something mental. Then, you know, I ended up homeless. But I'm going to tell you what, I went to a place you can get food at. And this is why sometimes it's best to be kind. So another homeless man came up to me, and like people compliment, like, you know, how, like, you got to keep yourself together. So he came up to me, he was real nice. He said he couldn't believe that I was homeless because he thought I was a volunteer or something. And then, first of all, homeless don't look like a certain type of way, guys. It's college students. It's kids that done phased out of the foster care system. It's families who have fires or natural disasters. It's people who come back from the military. And it is immigrants. It's a lot of different people who will be homeless and not what you see on the streets, you know, like look what you think they look like, you know. And he was just talking to me. Normally, I don't like nobody to talk to me when I have kids. I don't like no man try to hit on me while I got my kids. I don't like that. It just give me bad juju. But something just humbled my spirit. And he was talking. He said, have you tried to find a place to stay at, blah, blah, blah? And I said, yeah, but they told me they don't have any room. He said, I'm going to walk over there with you. He said, you go ahead and eat, then I'm going to come and walk you over there. And he walked me over to the place. He said, he told the lady, he said, get her and her baby somewhere to stay. And the lady said, this never happens. She said, this don't never happen. But we had a family of 4 who was supposed to come in, and they said they don't need it anymore. She said, this is crazy. And we ended up getting a private, like a whole private, like I'm telling you, they got families piled up. And it was like a old church, but not a church now, and they gave us a whole suite. And all I needed was just a place to breathe, y'all. And I'm telling y'all these stories because I want to show you about the power of God. God is not a building, a book, a ritual. It's not a label, a word. God is found in your survival, the joy, miracles of health. Like, that cancer gonna ravage their body. Then they test the person. They said the cancer's shrinking. That's God. So when I got in that position, all I needed to just have a good night's sleep and just not have that pressure of betrayal on me, like, wow, my family fucking snaked me. Wow, this bitch I was friends with snaked me. And I was good to them. I didn't have that, when I got a place where I could just have a minute of peace. And it's if you ever been in a shelter, it's a dynamic. It's a lot of people in there because they got a fucked up attitude. So you got to keep that in the dynamic. But then there's also beautiful people that change your life. And they're so powerful. There's a girl on my Facebook page. I met her there. We've both been blessed. And we still friends. Hey, girl. And, but her spirit, her soul, her kindness, superior. So, just so having that time to think, I came up with a business idea. And people sometimes give me money, like, to take them somewhere. I had a rental car. At this point, I had a rental car. And I took the they give me, take me here, take me there. And I got the rental car because I don't know how this, like, my mom was telling me this, but I was like, that don't make sense. Like, if you have a Sears card, like, I know people don't really shop at Sears, but we still used to buy coats and stuff. So it let me use the points. You know how they do the points system to get a rental car. So I used the rental car to take people places, and they gave me money, like other people from the shelter. So I got that little, probably like $50 up, and in 30 days, y'all, I kid y'all not, I turned that about $50 into over $14,000 in 30 days, in about 32 or 33 days. So I left the shelter at the 30-day mark, and I went on to earn another $20,000, and I bought a house in Clovis, New Mexico. I know that's crazy, like, you go from Georgia to New Mexico, but I could afford it. And it was a big old beautiful house, and it was isolated, like I like isolation. So that was God. I know y'all see a video. I got a video on my Instagram. Instagram. There's a video of me just throwing thousands of dollars on the floor in my bathroom. That's where I kept the money at. I kept that money under my sink for almost a year, till I realized my little badass boy was taking the money to school, and the teacher was so scandalous. She was telling me he was buying candy. When I found out my baby had taken probably about $4,000 or $5,000 to school, maybe a little more than that, y'all. And let me tell you what, it was a small town. Why the teacher allegedly, when I found out the money was gone, I started trying to get in contact with them. They wouldn't answer emails or phone. And the teacher ended up resigning from the school, telling me she was just going to go work on her family farm or something like that. But I think my baby gave her thousands of dollars for lollipops. The lollipops were like 10 cents. And the bitch didn't say nothing about, hey, your baby bring $100 bills to school. So I had the money under the sink. And the reason I had it under the sink was because that's why I was putting the money, because I was banking with a bank they didn't have in town. They only really had like one little bank. It's a small military town. And then the military, credit unions. So I was going to wait. I would have to go all the way to Albuquerque to go to my bank. So it was just, but that was something. It was divine intervention. I was able to make thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars just having a little peace of mind. Do you hear what I'm saying, guys? Just having a peace of mind allowed me to be in a position. I'm always be a hustler. It don't be easy, y'all. I'm always be a hustler. I try to make sure I don't do anything that cause hurt or harm to anybody. Nothing illegal. And I was able to bless myself. Instead of people being proud of me being able to come back from that, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people will say and minimize your struggle. They like to see you suffering. Oh, they love that. And then they hit you with the, hey, just checking on you. You want to talk? Check on me when I'm happy. Check on me when I'm at the park, at the gym. Yeah, I post a picture. Why you motherfuckers always got to wait till somebody posts something you think you understand and like gravitate then? I don't trust them type of people. You want to celebrate my downfall. You don't want to celebrate me, my overcoming. Or like they'll assume, they'll be like, you've been through so much. Until this podcast, don't nobody know what I've been through. I don't be telling y'all my business. The hell? And even when the people I have talked to, I still don't be telling them my business. You probably been hearing somebody else's business. You won't hear my business. They'll be like, well, you told me. I ain't told nobody nothing. Listen, if anybody told you I told them about my life, they lying. I ain't do that. I'm not going to tell nobody nothing about me that they can't hear on this podcast or that they cannot read on social media or Google. And this podcast is the most vulnerable I've ever been. You guys probably know more about me than the people that made and birthed me. So, because I ain't a crybaby in that regard. I'm sensitive. I cry a lot. I cry if I see a cute little pair of baby shoes. I do. I be like, oh, I remember my baby had baby feet. But I don't cry about things I can fix. You know what I'm saying? If I can fix being homeless, I'm going to fix it. If I can fix having debt, I'm going to figure out a way to fix it. I'm going to cry about it. What the hell y'all going to do? Y'all ain't going to give me no money. Y'all ain't going to give me a dime. Y'all ain't going to give me $1. Not even $1. So, y'all won't even give me a like because you think, oh, well, that's going to help her get paid on social media. But then it turn right back around and be like, hey, sis, can I get a loan? Hey, sis, can you help me promote my this, that? Hey, sis, you know anybody who want to buy a blah, blah, blah? Sis, out of here. Last thing you want to be with me is refer to yourself as a relative. Don't do that. Don't try to be, don't sis me. Or be like, oh, I'm your bro. Don't do that. Don't do that one. Come to me as a human being. You ain't got to put me on no friend, sis list. Come at me as a human being with honesty and transparency, friendship, kindness, love, and you'll get the same in return. So this honestly is a message of encouragement for other people who might find themselves without anybody. So, you guys, if you find yourself without anybody, questioning if you're loved, you're valued, questioning how you're going to get out of your situation, whether it's emotional, physical abuse, or just wanting to fulfill your dreams, anything beautiful and positive, where you going to get your next meal at, I'm telling y'all, baby, try God. And I don't mean the God you're going to find as Sunday service or tithing. Do you guys know that tithing originally was, and bear with me, y'all know the braces. I just got them adjusted yesterday and got my bars put on, which will close up my gap yesterday. So I'm still adjusting to talking this way now. So, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you know how that tithing used to be of your time and your skills. It wasn't money. It was your time, your skills, and your goods, meaning the baker would bring bread to the church. The butcher would bring meat to the church. The seamstress would sew clothes for the children in need. We made it money. It wasn't supposed to be money. You weren't supposed to need money for the church. People at the church supposed to build the church. They didn't hire no contractors. Do y'all know that's what they did in the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s? Back in the old day, the community built their masjid. The community built their church. They treated the goods, the wood and the stones and stuff that they built with, and they built it by hand. Some of the most beautiful churches in the world that were built by the church, the people. But when I say, when you find yourself in those situations, I am at my lowest, but now I don't have that pressure on top of me. Remember how I told you used to imagine a person getting a pebble put on them and then being dropped on a boulder on me. My last relationship was a boulder. It was so much pressure. Because when you date somebody with somebody that has mental health issues, addiction issues, you absorb that. If you're an empath, if you're a lover, a healer, you want to see them heal, you go get so lost in understanding that you lose yourself. It's okay to get lost in understanding and love with somebody who's willing to heal and to give those things to you. And I mean, healing is not necessarily sobriety. You can get sober over and over again. But until you heal your spirit, until you heal your trauma, until you heal the damage it does to you as a human being and mentally, you'll keep on going. You'll just trade out your addictions. This time it might be alcohol. Next time it might be weed. Next time it might be sex. Next time it might be attention. You'll continue a cycle of addiction no matter what the addiction is. Behaviors can be addictive. Looking at porn can be addictive. Collecting stuff you can't afford can be addictive. Shopping can be addictive. Until you heal yourself mentally, spiritually, you'll continue a system of self-destruction. Self-destruction is not always visible, guys. You can look at a drunk and see them getting skinny, not taking care of their hygiene and whatever. But you'll see a person like me and be like, oh, she got it together because she's smiling. But in the inside, I was being destroyed and I was destroying myself. So now what y'all going to start witnessing, you witness my lowest. Now you're going to start witnessing my own redemption, my salvation, my journey to find God and to spread some love and some joy. And I'm so grateful and thankful to be here. Baby, if you ain't got nobody, and you got nobody cheering for you, nobody praying over you, I don't care if y'all want to call it meditation, but I don't care what you call it. If you ain't got nobody sending you good vibes, you know, I am. But baby, listen, you ain't got nobody? I'm going to tell y'all what. Try God. Try God. You guys have an amazing, amazing rest of your day. Thank you for joining the Plus One podcast with Jess Minksy. Make sure you subscribe. If you have questions, hit the question box. If you want to teach me something, tell me something about anything I've discussed and I don't understand, please reach out to me on social media. I'm always willing to learn as well. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for the support.